Okay. A book that made me happy.
In this economy?
Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Samah, and no, you are not mistaken, I have changed my online name. What do we call it that? But anyways, first I was going by the Nerdwood blog, which is a name that I had since I started blogging in 2015, 16. God, that make me feel like a fossil. It didn't fit me as a person right now because my content is based around fandom, books, and anything that I gush about. But it was silly, and for a name that has been stuck with you for so long, you get tired of it. And I was thinking maybe spice it up, maybe change it a little bit, since I'm going through a lot of changes, especially in what kind of books that I'm currently reading and books that I want to read in the future. And I was like,
I need to grow out of my...
So I changed it, and it's now Samah Can Read, which it's still as silly as the old one, but it's a change and we like that. So in this video, you click on, you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to be doing the mid-year freak out tag. I've never done a tag like this before, since my channel is still new and I don't post as consistent as other channels, which is we're gonna pretend it didn't happen. That's, I didn't say that I'm gonna be more present on YouTube, and I just dropped of that. I've seen this challenge going around, this tag around, that I want to hop in, and it's a great opportunity to reflect on your reading journey throughout the half of the year, the books that you have read. But at the same time, I was thinking, since I am home alone and I didn't have a proper lunch, I want to make something, hence why we are in the kitchen. And this is a recipe that I found online in Ramadan days that I've been making non-stop. My family are so fucking tired of it. It's kind of those tacos, but the recipe is 100% improvised by me. So take this recipe with a grain of salt, literally. Before we start, I need to chop the onion. I have my chicken breast, which I need to cut. Be right back. Hi, back. Now I have you in a different angle. Before we start, I want to make a reading update. Yesterday I just finished my read for The Word That's Saying by Delia Owens. I love that book, and the second read made it even better in my mind, because the first time I didn't get much time to annotate because I was reading it on the go, but this time I took my time with it. I annotated the shit out of it and I am so ready for the book adaptation, which is coming out next month, July 50th, I believe. I'm more excited for that movie than the new Thor movie, which says something. I have so much high hopes for it, and I hope it delivers. I really hope. And from the trailer and the first looks on the movie, it looks amazing. I am so excited for that. But for now, I picked up Morin Engineer by Susan Abu Hawa, and this is a recount of the Nakba from a family that actually lived in the village of Ain Hood, and we see their life, how it literally changed their life and turned it upside down. It's a very devastating read. I am only at page 46 and I have so much annotation and notes that I took while reading this book. It's a devastating read. The trigger, please check the trigger warning because it's mentioned war, torture, genocide, Zionism, if you can't read about that, and if you are someone who has family who have lived through that, because it is really devastating. Like 46 pages in and I was crying. I was already crying. So it's a really good read, and I had this for more than a year now, and I've been meaning to read this, but now I have the opportunity to do so. So I'm so excited with this one. I think I might binge read it this weekend and finish it. And it doesn't feel like a fiction that you read for just the enjoyment for it, because the moral behind it, the story, and it's real. It's based on real events, which made it even more devastating. And now I have my onion, which I'm going to start with cutting and chopping it so I can start preparing for making the filling, which is the chicken breast. As I do that, let's go with the first question, which is best book that you've read so far in 2022. For this answer, I'm going to be picking 3 books in 3 different genres: best fantasy, best literary fiction, and best mystery thriller, or something like that. Best fantasy is obviously the Poppy War trilogy. I can't stop talking about the Poppy War trilogy. It's a great trilogy, and it actually put me in a reading slump when I was reading it. After I was reading it, because it for me this is exactly what I want in a fantasy adult series book. I don't know what to call it, but what's the Poppy War about? It's about this war orphan called Fangrin, and she lives in this fictional empire called Nikan, which is inspired by ancient China in the 20th century. And in this empire, we have 5 districts, and each district is ruled by a warlord. And Nikan is always in war with its neighboring country, which I forgot the name for. And so um the empire imposes on each family to adopt orphans, and Fangrin is put into the care of this family who runs the drug transport selling, I don't know what you call it, but the family sells and buys opium, which is illegal, and she sees firsthand what the drug and opium does to people. And one day her family, especially her foster mother, tells her that she has to marry this very old man, and the only way for her to get out of this is to get accepted into this prestigious military school, which is called Steel Guard, I believe. And this is very prestigious, only the elite get into it, not because it's nepotism or anything, but because not everyone has the resources to have tutors and teachers to prepare you for this quiz that the whole empire takes, and they select the best of the best to go into this school. And surprisingly, Fangorn actually scores the first place in her district, and she is taken to the Silgard, and there she faces a lot of racism because she is from the southern parts of the empire. She has dark skin, and everyone in the Silgard, which is in the capital, have fair skin, and they're trying to be like the country they're always in war with. And at the same time, when she goes into the school, we learn about the story of Spear, which is an island country that was in the southwestern border of Nikan, and that was wiped out from the map because its people are told to be mad, and they can use magic and access to the power of the god through using drugs, and so they destroy themselves. But there's the only survivor of this island lives and studies in Silgard, so she gets to know him, befriend him, and at the same time we have this element of fantasy into it. It's a great story, I love it so much. And please, before getting into it, check the trigger warning, because it's not an easy book to read, it's not an easy series to read, because this paints war as it is. It doesn't romanticize the war. It doesn't show we have this torture hero who goes into war, and despite whatever, he still sees the positive side of war. No, this really shows what war it is and how maniac it is, and also about power and the abuse of power. It's just a perfect book. I love it so much. Rin as a main character is exceptional. She is human, layered, complicated, and the author didn't shy from showing her weaknesses and outbursts and being a brat sometimes. She is still, you read it and you know, like, damn, she is real. She feels like a human, like she is someone who is born out of rage, out of war, and is thrown into this war once again, and she sees firsthand what war does to other countries. Either you are the winner or the losers. And I love how in this book we see how it mirrors politics and the way the opium war has devastated China in the 20th century, and how the Britain were seen and looking down on the other countries, and how they illegally made it impossible for this country to develop and reach their level of being civilized. It's a great book. Please read the Opium War, please, because it's so good. But keep in mind that once you read the Poppy War, nothing will feel the same. It will not be the same. After finishing this book, I was like,
What kind of book I want to read?
Because I was in a reading slump and I didn't know what to read. It 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 was perfect. It was everything I wanted in a book. This was a bad idea because I spent 6 minutes just chatting about the series and I've done nothing. But I haven't even started chopping the onion. Oh God. We have now the next literary fiction book, and it was The Vanishing Half by Bennett. This book, which I finished just like a couple of days ago, tells the story of twin sister Desiree and Stella, who run away from their home when they are in the age of high school juniors, I believe. They go to live in New Orleans, but 1 year later, Stella chose to pass over, which means she chose to live the rest of her life as a white person. And Desiree is stuck there. And at the beginning of the book, we see her going back to her town with a child, and the child is a black child, like so black that the way they treated her there like an alien or an outsider, even though they are all black people living there. So this book treats generational trauma. It talks about finding your way in a world that isn't built for you, that word that tells you from the day you were born that you don't belong there. And belonging is a huge theme in this book, because in any book, in any phrase, in any sentences, you have the word belonging. Each character express their feelings while using the word belonging. For example, if someone wants to say that they love the other person, they say that you belong with them. And I really love that sense of belonging and theme in the book. And for best thriller, it's If You Were Villain by M.L. Rio, which, oh god, I loved so much. I think it's the only book that I have already fully reviewed on TikTok, which you can check if you haven't known it, that I am already on TikTok. Anyways, and the story of If You Were Villain is told from a before and after, and we have this 10-year gap between some of the events taking place in the book, and then we go back and forth 10 years later, 10 years before. The story takes place in this prestigious school where people study art, and in the center of it we have this school that studies Shakespeare, and there are, I think, 5 friends, I don't remember. Each friend perfectly mirrors the roles that they play on these Shakespearean plays. So for example, we have this character who is the main character, who gives us main character this arrogant, the jock and this strong male, and always plays the lead in the plays. For example, he plays Caesar in their upcoming play, and that's what I mean. Each person in this book mirrors the roles that they take when they play Shakespearean plays. And we go 10 years later, one of the character in this group is getting out of prison for a murder he may or may not have committed. So we go back in time to see what murder we were talking about, if he actually committed this murder. And it's such a beautiful book. If you are a Shakespearean fan, as I am, you're gonna 100% love this book. The way it's written is good, the prose, everything about it is great. It's at the end, actually, it's very devastating. It's broke me. I remember crying my heart out when I finished it. Love that book. 5 stars for me. Please check it out. I have chopped my onion. Actually, I just started chopping the onion, and I remember that my mom got this cool gadget that lets you put your onion in, and you pull this string and it just chops itself. And I was like,
why would I do it by hand when we have a gadget for that?
so thank you, technology, I guess. Next question is best sequel that I've read so far in 2022, and I don't think I've read any sequels, to be honest. However, I am very excited for a sequel that is going to be dropping by the end of this year. I'm not going to be talking about it right now because it's an answer for a question that is coming. So no, I don't remember. I don't think I've read any sequels this year. If you count the Puppy War trilogy, which I binge read, so I don't think that counts, right? I don't know. Next thing we have new release you haven't read yet but want to My god, I have a long list for that, but on the top of my head it's Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I love anything that V.E. Schwab came out with. I love her writing style. So far I've read Darker Shades of Magic, the trilogy. I loved it, although it was kind of a miss for me, especially by the end of the book, mostly because one of the characters really got on my nerves, but I really love that. I've also read the Invisible Life of Adela Rue, which is her standalone fantasy adult. Great, love that story. It's kind of a slow read, so if you are more into fast-paced books, I don't think you're gonna enjoy that. But it was a great read for me. We also have, okay, I need a plate. We also have Memphis by Tara M. What's her name? Tara M. Stringfellow. Yeah, Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow. Stringfellow. It's kind of a generational book that follows a generation of women. And after reading The Vanishing Half by Bennett, I really find that I enjoy reading generational books. I enjoy reading about stuff that happens throughout the years, and especially if we have a female woman in the center of it all. So I'm very excited to be getting this book and reading it. I had to stop him because I was doing so little progress on my chicken making. No, I was taking so much, just chopping some chicken breast, and I was like, I'm gonna stop and then go back to famine after I finish that. So far it's all simmering. I added some seasoning. You can add whatever you want. I have some chicken seasoning and salt, pepper, paprika, anything that you wanna throw in there. I did that, so so far it's simmering. Now I want to make some roasted potatoes, so I'm gonna get into that. But before, I want to go back to the question that I answered, which is the most recent release, a new release that I haven't read that came out in 2022. I said Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I said Memphis by Tara M. Tara M. Stringfellow, and also Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. Yeah, Charmaine Wilkerson. And this is a story about a woman that dies and leaves nothing to her daughter except a black cake, which is a traditional cake made, I think, by breadcrumbs or something. So I'm really excited to read that book. I've seen a lot of good reviews about it, and I am super excited to get into that. Next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and oh my god, do I have the list. First, we have Carrie Soto is back by Taylor Jenkins. Anything Taylor Jenkins writes, I wanna read. So far I've read like most of her books, and I am so excited to read Carrie Soto because she's a character that was first introduced in Malibu Rising, and she was the woman that the main character's husband left her for. So he went to Carrie Soto, and then realizing his mistake, he came back to the main character, and we see this feisty, this person who was just everyone was more focused on her when she showed up on the book. So I'm very excited to see what's her story, why she was so important that Taylor Jenkins decided to dedicate a whole book for her. Next, I have Babel by Kuang, who is the same author of The Poppy War. I have no idea about this book, but because it's written by Kuang and it became an auto-buy for me, I am so excited to read this one. I am so jealous of anyone that has an advanced reading copy, because I would die to get my hand on that. Yeah, I'm so excited for this one, and it just, the premises of it sound amazing.
I've read the synopsis, but I totally forgot about that.
I think it's about a fictional Oxford where word and translation has magic, and
Okay.
next we have Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong, and this is about a character that we first met in This Violent Delight duology, Rosalind, and she wasn't my favorite character in the whole duology, but I am so excited to see the new direction that Chloe Gong is taking with her characters. Her writing style is amazing. I love how she uses so beautiful prose, and the feelings that are conveyed in the book and in her writing really hits to my heart. So I'm so excited to read that one. Next we have Blood Marked by Tracy Dion. This is the sequel for Legendborn, which is a modern retelling of the Arthurian legend. I love that book and I cannot wait to read the sequel. Another sequel that I want to get into, which is Realmbreaker, the second book in the Great Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. I love the first book. It's a beautiful mix between the Lord of the Ring trilogy and the world of Tolkien and Guardian of the Galaxy. We have a villain who is a main character. We follow her descent into madness and we see her ways and why she is choosing this path. We have this band of mismatched heroes, an immortal person. We have a person who doesn't know what's actually happening, thrown into this quest. Hi, Editing Sama here. What I meant to say is that I am excited for Blade Breaker, which is the sequel for Realmbreaker and not the opposite. I love the world building and I believe that this is so much better than Red Queen because it has a lot of maturity into it. So I was so excited with this one and I'm so excited for Blade Breaker, which is coming out, I believe, next month. Next question is biggest surprise. Biggest surprise, I'm gonna say the biggest surprise and the biggest disappointment for me. The biggest surprise was Reputation by Lex Croucher, which is marketed as a mix between Fleabag and Bridgerton, but for me I believe it's a mix between Fleabag, Bridgerton, Pride and Prejudice and Mean Girl. It's a beautiful story set in the Regency era. I love it so much. It's modern, it's funny, it's witty, it's so great. Okay, I think my chicken is burning. We have a lot of Mean Girl references. It feels like reading a Fleabag screenwrite set in Regency era. So good. It was the biggest surprise. I didn't think that I'm gonna enjoy it because a lot of these books that were marketed this way usually misses for me, but for Reputation, and also I've seen on the author's Instagram, they say that the inspiration behind the title of the book Reputation is Taylor Swift's album Reputation. If you are a Swiftie like me, I think this book is calling for you, so please pick it up. It's so fun. I love also the dedication in the book that she said for Jane Austen, sorry Jane, and that was funny enough for me to just pick the book. The biggest disappointment for me was Six Crimson Cranes. I've seen a lot of people talk about this on TikTok and Instagram. I love the fairy tale and the story that was the inspiration of the book, but I read that one right after reading the Poppy War, so I was already riding the military fantasy so high, and I got to read a young adult fantasy written in the first person perspective, which is my least way of narration. So I didn't like it. I was so mad because the cover is so gorgeous and I really wanted to enjoy that book, but I couldn't, and that was the biggest disappointment for me. Next question is favorite new author debut or new to you, and I'm gonna say Eric Kuang, the writer of the Poppy War trilogy and the writer of Babel, which is coming out this year. Her writing style is so captivating, it's so mesmerizing. I love her way of how she uses words, and you don't think that those words are gonna make something stare into you, but I love her work, and I cannot wait to read Babel because from the first review that came out this month, a lot of people are praising it, and I know that I'm gonna be spoon-fed that book so fast, even though it's a huge book. I've seen the pictures, it's a really huge book, but anything from Eric Kuang, I will definitely devour it. And then the other author is Brit Bennett, who wrote The Vanishing Half. She has another book called The Mothers, and I don't want to know what that book is, but I'm gonna read it because The Vanishing Half was a great book for me. I've read it, I enjoyed it. It's still fresh in my memory, and I remember how much emotion it conveyed, and a lot of themes in that book really were wrapped in this beautiful prose, and I loved it so much. So I am so excited to read anything that they came out with. Now I'm gonna make some roasted potatoes, and let's go to the next question, which is A new fictional crush. I don't think I've read books with characters that I was crushing over. I think I'm okay. I think I'm way past that, and but if I can think of one, it's Ninja from the Poppy War. Now hear me out. Ninja is kind of a backstabbing bitch, but his character reminded me so much of Mark Spector from Moon Knight, the newest Marvel show. I loved him, and I loved Ninja. I loved his point of view in all of this, in how he was torn between his duty for his father and his country, and for his love for this character. I just I love Ninja so much. It's the kind of unlikely hero that you don't think that you're gonna be crushing over, but I did. So sorry. Books that made you cry. I have proof of that. I have videos of me crying on the internet over this book, and it is One True Loves by Jenkins. This is a book that it's a romance. I believe it's a romance, and the book actually have this split timeline, and in either timeline we see that she found love somehow. So this book actually asks the question if soulmates are real, and if there's one person for you that is gonna make your life better, and who is literally the other half of you. The reason why it made me cry is because Taylor Jenkins writes love stories in a way that is exceptional. You think you know what love is, you think you understand what romance and love stories and all of that, but when Taylor Jenkins reads a book about that, I'm showing my knife, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. When she writes about that, it's phenomenal, it's exceptional, and I was relating a lot to the main character because she was going through a lot and she didn't know what she wants to do with her life, and she was still, even though in her 20s or 30s, and she still doesn't know what she wants to do, and at the same time she feels like a disappointment, and she can't open up to a lot of people and share how she feels, because everyone she's gonna talk to will like, but have you tried this, have you tried that, and it kind of feels overwhelming sometimes. So I totally understand that, and that made me so sad. I was crying. I had tears stained on the last pages of the book. Amazing, great, 5 stars, phenomenal, out of the top. Okay, back again. I went, cut some potatoes, and I'm gonna now put them in the oven to roast. Next question is a book that made you happy. A book that made me happy. In this economy, I don't read happy books. I don't. Nothing came to my mind. Maybe Reputation, because it made me giggle from time to time. But a book that made me happy, I don't read happy books. So yeah. Next question is the most beautiful book that you have bought or you have been gifted. And for that, I'm gonna bring the books to see them, because you have to see them in person. They are so beautiful. I have 2, and I really want to show them off. First book is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. Look at this cover. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful watercolor painting. I love this cover. And also a recent purchase, which is The Book of Night by Holly Black. Mine has this teal situation happening, and we have this tear in the middle, and a moon. It's so gorgeous, and it's also hardcover. The cover is gorgeous, and these 2 are my pride and joy. Now back to my recipe. I have bought these from the supermarket, which is already, because before I buy tortilla wraps and cut them into small circles so I can make the shells for the tacos. But I went to the supermarket and I found these already cut off tortilla wraps, and I was like, sure, they are this small. I'm gonna kind of preheat them on a pan. Still they're like firmer and they have a strong base and they can hold each other, and put them in this shape. So because they are gonna be hot and crisp, they're gonna take the shape as taco shells, and I'm gonna fill them with the already chicken breast that I have made, and I'm gonna decorate them. Usually I use guacamole, but I couldn't find an avocado in the supermarket or anywhere near. I don't think they are in season anymore. I don't know, I may be wrong. Yeah, maybe you can add some sauce. Sometimes I add cut up tomatoes or tomatoes, I don't know. Yeah, but right now I'm gonna just fill them with my cooked chicken and some cheese on top, and I'm gonna put them in the oven again till the cheese melts a little bit, and bring it out and eat it, and I'll be right back. Okay, last question is, what books that you are looking forward to read for by the end of the year? And probably it's gonna be Sally Rooney. I want to get into Sally Rooney books. So far I have no more people in conversation by friends. Both of books are part of a video that I have planned that I didn't film because obviously I didn't read the books. Also, I have to read Emily Henry books. We talk about You and Me on Vacation, which read, and the newest release, Book Lover. I have my eyes on this for so long, and I think summer is the right time to pick Emily Henry books. I want to see what the fuss is about, because everyone is talking about this book and everyone's talking about her books and saying that she writes romance in a very good way, especially the last book, Book Lovers, and I am intrigued. And also, since I'm kind of like going through a midlife crisis, and Russian literature has been on my watch for so long, and they scare the shit out of me. I mean, have you seen War and Peace? How long that book is, and it's dense and sad and gloomy, and it reeks of cold, and I want to read that. I want to get into a Russian novel. I still haven't picked which novel I want to read. Maybe I will do a reading vlog around that book, but I haven't picked the right book because I don't want to read War and Peace. I don't want to see Anna. I don't want to read Anna Karenina because I watched the movie before. But so I don't know, maybe I will pick these two, who knows. But so far I still haven't set my mind on a book, but I want to read a Russian novel, a Russian book. I don't say novella because those books are fucking huge. I finished. I filled the tortilla shells with chicken, and I added some cheese. You can add whatever type of cheese you want. Now I want to put them in the oven so the cheese melt, but not too much. I want to still taste cheese in it. Potatoes are gonna take forever to roast because I forgot to put them earlier. We have to put them before you even start preparing for all of this because potatoes takes time to be roasted. I'm gonna put this in the oven and I will see you when all of this is finished. That's it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. My food is ready. I'm about to devour this because I'm so hungry. It's almost 7 p.m. and I didn't have my lunch. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all of that. I will try to post more, even though I don't want to promise that because I don't want to end up breaking that promise. But thank you for sticking by. I'm going to be making this a priority to film once in a while. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next time. Bye.